Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So we've got a lot going on today. We're just going to dive right into it. Let's start off with, don't forget to invest in yourself today. Remember the rules. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Those are the things that we have to watch out for today. What else do we have going on? We have DeFi lending soaring to about $19.1 billion in 2024. Calculations have happened. That's doubling centralized finance and shifting crypto finance paradigm. The reason why that's such a big deal is because centralized finance, right, is losing out to decentralized finance. I haven't heard a lot. I'm going to have to start digging in again. But that's the whole point of Project Guardian. A lot of these financial institutions have bonded together, come together to create a DeFi system that they can work with. That is going to be a very big deal. That's a globalization of lending. And we just have to see, like, how far does it go? Does it go all the way down to mortgages? Like, what is it that it will encompass? And I think that's going to have to be a special report. Then we've got Ondo Finance soaring. I'm not going to say soaring. It's popped a little bit, like 4% or so. But why has it? Because of Mantra's implosion. So Ondo is now picking up all of that. So for all of you that are holding Ondo bags, kudos to you. This is why I say you've got to have, when you do your research, you've got to have, like, here's the primary in the space, here's the secondary in the space, here's the tertiary in the space. No matter how you investigate it, or how you invested rather, looking at those three can tell you, when things like this happen, what your alternatives can be. Now, if you happen to be holding Mantra like I am, you're holding a bag of Mantra, I'm just holding them under my bag of Mantra. I put in a few $100. I could be sitting here crying about it. I'm just going to sit back and wait. Is it like the implosion of Luna? Yeah. Was I holding Luna? No, not at the time. No. But you never know. Maybe it corrects. Maybe it doesn't. But, I take it as a loss, and I'm also taking it as a lesson. So we'll see what happens in the future. But it does tell me, pay attention, though, to those projects that rise real fast. I mentioned that, I think, like 2 weeks ago. Pay attention to those projects that rise real fast. Also do a deeper tokenomics thing. This past Sunday during the Big Baggers meeting, I was speaking about that. No, I'm not going to bring it up now. Why? Because you should be a big bagger. If you were a big bagger, you're going to have the ability in just a little bit to be able to go back and look at all of the previous meetings. No matter when you became a big bagger, you'll be able to have benefit of being able to look at all the previous meetings, as well as take part in the live video conferences that we have going forward. But we spoke about this. We spoke about it in depth. Then we've got Kilo X. And in case you don't know who Kilo X is, they're actually backed by formerly named Binance Labs. I think they changed their name to, it was something that I couldn't pronounce, but it is backed by, the new version of Binance Labs. They suffered a $7 million exploit. Yeah, $7 million right after launch. Token plummets about 30% amid Oracle vulnerability. Oracle. So Mr. Big, another Oracle. Just saying. So they lost about $7 million in a cross-chain hack, exploiting its Oracle system, prompting a 30% token drop and emergency shutdown, with remediation efforts and bounty programs now underway. That's how you handle something. That right there is how you handle something. There are examples on how you do things and how you don't do things. You want to know what the common thread to me is? Transparency, fast action. Transparency, fast action. You want to know what does that? Communication. Communication. They immediately communicated to their community, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. And we'll get back to you. And I'm pretty sure they're going to handle that on an ongoing basis. That is how you handle things. Mantra should have taken notes. Just saying. Mantra should have been taking notes from the whole Bybit situation. Mantra had so many different ways, that whole team had so many different ways on how to handle things and how not to handle things. And we see what happens. Then you've got Mantra crashing over 90%. At one point, it was like 98%. Yeah. At one point, it was looking worse, chart-wise, than the Luna crash. Yeah, how cute is that? It's not. It's not cute. It's not cute at all. I actually want to see where's Mantra right now. Mantra currently ranked 93. And there's Stitchy. Mantra's currently ranked 93 with a market cap of about, it's, hold on a second. Circulating supply. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It is what it is. Market cap of 583 million. I was just looking at other stuff. And it's currently at 60 cents. If you got in yesterday at 72 cents, you're looking at the 60 cents and you're crying. And let me tell you something. If you got in earlier when it was at 57 cents and you're up to 60 cents, yeah, you're kind of crying. Yesterday, it had gone down as far as 48 cents. I think that they want this thing to revive. I think they want it to revive. I really, really do. Really, really do. That's why I'm just going to let it play out. We'll see what happens. Maybe instead of short-term gains, it's a Freudian slip. Maybe I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at, well, you know what? Hold it for the long term. Maybe it comes back. Maybe it gets stronger. They actually learn their lessons, come out with a statement, We'll see what happens. Something else that was bad that happened. Phantom Wallet faces a $500,000 lawsuit over alleged security flaws and partner fraud allegations. Phantom Technologies is being sued for $500,000 for stolen from a crypto wallet via unencrypted browser storage. Plaintiffs also cite ties to OKX, which faces money laundering charges and seek a $3.1 million damage lawsuit. Wow. That's nuts. Then you've got South Korea delisting from the app stores, Google and Apple, 31 unregistered apps, including KuCoin and MEXC. Now, if you actually are paying attention to KuCoin and MEXC, they have that same problem in the United States. They seem to have this thing where they feel they can operate in any country without proper compliance to that country's regulations. This is, like I said, this is not the first time that you've seen KuCoin land in this space and MEXC land in this space. So yeah, I'm actually not surprised that they would be a part of that list. Sorry about that. I was feeling a little bit tight. So yeah, I'm looking to see that, the truth is South Korea is not playing games. And before you say South Korea is cracking down on crypto, no, they're cracking down on illicit crypto. They're cracking down on companies that feel that they can, circumvent the rules. South Korea is a big crypto usage country. So yeah, no, I look at this as, yeah, do that. I really do. I look at it as do that. And every time I see a country do that and I see the same names, it makes me say, yeah, I don't want to work with that particular company. I don't want to work with it. Because if you do it multiple times, that's your modus operandi, right? That's your MO. That's how you do business. I don't want to do business with companies like that. I don't. Not when we see other companies, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, all trying to bust their humps, trying to change ways and make sure that they're compliant and all that good stuff. So yeah, I take note. I absolutely take note. Want to know what else I take note of? China telling its airlines to say, yeah, no, we're not going to accept those planes from Boeing. That's right. That's what's going on now. China is not accepting planes from Boeing. They've also told their airlines to stop using parts made in the United States or stemming from the United States. That's a wrap. Boeing needs this like it needs a hole in the head. Boeing's already reeling from last year's fiascos and previous year's fiascos. And they were just starting to get to solid ground, and now they're faced with this because of the tariffs. What else is going on? Somebody said Bo Hines is out there telling, the current regime that we can use funds from tariffs to fund a Bitcoin reserve. Let's break that down. What are tariffs? Those are taxes on everybody that uses whatever product that's being imported into the country. So that's a problem. So now we're paying that bill. The Bitcoin reserve was supposed to be not paid for by the taxpayers. Huh. How's that? Hey, Stitchy. Right? How's that work? How does that work? Yeah, so those are problems for me. Then you've got, the idea that we're going to pay for it in that kind of fashion. I'm just like, do you know how tariffs work, sir? Do you know how tariffs work? Because that does not really equate. That math doesn't math for me. That's ridiculous thought. It really is. And it's painful. Good day, Felix. Hope all is well with you and yours. Good day, sir. Why do I have the urge to sell some of my gold, which I got around the 1600s, and get some Ethereum? Thought? I'll be kind this morning and I'll answer that question. I do not give financial advice. But if I was holding gold, especially at a $1,000 range price, would I be selling gold as it approaches 3,500? Because to me, that's the question that I'd be asking myself. And buy Ethereum and buy whatever else it is I'm going to buy. If I want to buy something, I have a strategy where whenever I take profit, a large percentage of that profit goes into dry powder. I have a dollar cost averaging strategy where I invest a regular number on a regularly scheduled basis. If I want to do something extra, I use dry powder. I hope that answers your question. That's what I do. And I face that all the time. I face those kind of questions for myself and how I'm managing my bags all the time. What else is there? This next topic is problematic. It's problematic for me. So we introduced tariffs, and those tariffs have been, on again, off again, on again, off again. Some are going to get tariffs. Some are not going to get tariffs. When you threaten the world is going to respond. There's no such thing as an idle threat at those levels, right? At the country level. So they're already responding. Tariffs came, the sell-off of bonds happened. Facts. And why is the current regime trying to manipulate the market? Well, they want Powell to lower the interest rate. And they want Powell to introduce quantitative easing. I want you to ponder this notion. So we want to lower interest rates to spur the economy. The economy was slowing down. That's true. It needed to. It's natural. But now you want to lower interest rates and turn on the money printing machines. Play that out in your head. When would we feel the impact of turning on the money printing machines? Next administration? Right? But forget about that kind of move. Forget about the political chess move there. Let's just talk about writing checks with money we don't have. The whole point of the Department of Government Efficiency was to save money. The current regime goes to Mar-a-Lago or one of his other properties every weekend. Or, I'm sorry, not every weekend. 10 out of the past 11 weekends. At a taxpayer cost of $3 million each time. You can do your own research on this. It's out there. So $30 million. $30 million. Interesting. In the same time period last year, we spent $154 billion less as a government. First quarter of this year, we spent $154 billion more than last year, same period. Department of Government Efficiency. And what we're proposing is to write stimulus checks and other quantitative easing efforts and lower interest rates. Please tell me the economic impact that would bring to the United States. More debt? Like in a heartbeat, more debt. Oh, let's not forget that in Congress right now, they've got a bill floating around that would introduce tax cuts. Who would those tax cuts be for? Not the regular person. That's a problem. Felix? Yeah. Inflation would happen in a major freaking fashion. So what do you think this regime is looking to do? They're yapping about how they're going to try to get rid of Powell. You can't, buddy. You can't. He's here until May 2026. Now, I want to take a moment to think about this. Imagine if they had somebody not like Powell in there that was willing to do this. What would that do to our country? I'm still dreading the day that Powell leaves. He's been steadfast. Has he been perfect? No. But he's been steadfast. He's been dependable. You've never had to stop and think about where his brain was. His brain is focused, acutely focused on making our country successful. Our country successful. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Whoever's sitting in that office, whoever's sitting in that seat, I need them to be successful for the whole country. I want them to be successful for the whole country. But I cannot see the plan in increasing tariffs, a hit on us citizens, basically the equivalent of a wealth tax, and there aren't that many wealthy out there, and cutting interest rates and introducing quantitative easing. And also adding, hey Ryan, also adding on top of that a bill that gives tax cuts again to the wealthy. On top of that, we're still giving favor to large corporations by all these, tax cuts and everything else. For them to do business in whatever municipalities they're in. How are we going to reverse the trend of the growing debt that we have if we do moves like this? I'm trying to understand. Maybe I'm dumb. It's possible. My kids will call me that all the time. But how do we reverse that $36 trillion and growing? I think it's 37 now. How do we change that? Good morning, Hutanik. I just don't see how this math works. I'm not talking, about crazy things. I'm talking about the facts that are on the table right now. They want to try to get rid of Powell. They know they can't get rid of Powell. So they're saying, oh, yeah, we're working on it. Maybe by the end of the year, blah, blah, blah. No, you're not working on Jack. You're not getting rid of him. However, May of next year is going to be tough because that's when Powell leaves. Here's the only thing that I can think of. All of this economic turmoil and how the economy is generally doing, by the time May comes, I don't think that the economy is going to be doing well. And because of that, the current party in control is going to be in a position, because remember, that's a voting year, that's midterms. I don't think they're going to fare well. So squeezing in the wrong person to replace Powell could be a problem. It could be a major problem. So maybe that's the reprieve. Maybe that's what we get. Maybe. As well as midterms on the president's second term. Yeah, you're pretty much done. You become a lame duck president. In a situation like this, and we can wait to see how it plays out. Maybe by some flippin' miracle, we reverse course and we start to trend in the opposite direction because we stop wasting time, we stop wasting money, and we stop trying to squeeze blood from a stone. Maybe. 83% chance of pause, I read. I think there will be a pause in May. And unless the numbers change, I think that we're going to look at a pause, or even what Rick Ritchie said, an increase in June. Or the following one, was it June or July? July, probably. I don't have the dates in front of me at the moment. But that's what I'm thinking. That's literally what I'm thinking. But I just want everybody to think about everything that's on the table right now. Everybody's been paying attention to tariffs, and they have not been paying attention to what went on in the House of Representatives last week or the week before last, where they actually passed a framework, right? A budgetary framework that favors the wealthy and favors corporations, does not help the regular person. That's a problem. On top of that, you've got tariffs. That's a problem. On top of that, what do we have? A regime that wants to lower interest rates. That's a fact. And if they don't lower those interest rates, that's going to be a problem, right? For this current regime. But if they do get everything that they want, what happens to this country? We've alienated our friends, and we've isolated ourselves from the rest of the world with these tariffs by not picking up the phone and saying, hey, look, listen, we'd like to work on this. We'd like to fix this. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Our problem isn't China. We purchased almost $500 million in goods and services from China. Why is that? It's because we gave away manufacturing to China. So of course it's going to be lopsided. That's where everything is manufactured. Everything was fine when companies were saving money. But it's not fine now? Okay, all right. We can look at other things and how they're managing the yuan and everything else, and we can have a conversation about that. But that should have been a conversation. That shouldn't have been a tax on our wealth, which I would not define as wealth. A tax on our income immediately. So we're going to see higher prices on almost everything in this country. Why? Just because of tariffs. Oh, but they're coming to the higher you make the number, the more they want to come to the table. Finish the sentence. They want to come to the table to try to talk some sense into you. Corporations want to come to the table to try to talk some sense into you. That's what coming to the table means in this case, in my humble opinion. It's just me. The fact that silver and copper market ratio against gold is charting into a recession. Yeah. But that's the thing. We already know a recession is coming. We already know that we're basically in a recession. Ray Dalio called it. He's like, recession? Yeah, think of that. Think of that as a done deal. I'm worried about larger things. He didn't use the D word. I'm worried about larger things. Wow. Wow. Right there. Holy moly. Holy flippin' moly. And again, look at that combination. Tax, the lower taxes for the rich and wealthy, corporations, the idea of lowering the interest rates and introducing quantitative easing. What is that? That's turning on the money printing machine. What does that do to the dollar? These tariffs, the numbers came out of nowhere. There's no rhyme or reason to these tariff numbers. They were just numbers yanked out of the air. And we use those numbers against friends and foes. I don't look at China as a foe in this case. Why? Again, we gave them manufacturing. We said, "Oh, we can make more money if we outsource manufacturing. We'll take the higher level jobs." And now we're outsourcing the higher level jobs, predominantly to India. And yet we wonder where all the jobs are. So let's talk about this whole Nvidia thing. So Nvidia promises or says that they're going to spend $500 billion, $500 billion, to build a new chip manufacturing facility in Dallas, Texas. Awesome. That would be great, right? Because everybody in the back of their minds, because this is how they've been trained, they think jobs. Yeah, you'll get construction workers that'll work there for about 10 minutes until they're done actually building the facility. Then the robots go in. You heard me. There will be almost no jobs for humans. Almost none when they build that facility. When you go to China and you look at their facilities for building phones, they're like almost 100% automated. Robots. That's not fake news. That's real. So you mean to tell me that we're going to go backward and we're going to build a plant out here to build something like chips? Do you know chips are made in clean rooms? No dust, no nothing. Clean. Back in the day, people used to wear the equivalent of hazmat suits to walk in there so that it stayed clean. No dust, no nothing. So you think we're going to go backwards and we're going to use people in hazmat suits to be able to work in there and make the chips? No, they will be done by robots with precision. So, We're pointing to that as a win? Other manufacturers saying, "Oh, we're going to bring back manufacturing." Those jobs are not jobs. Cut it out. Again, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. If you do that, you'll see what I'm talking about. All these people talking about, "Oh, he's doing what needed to happen." Please learn math. Please pick up a book on economics. Please pick up a book that can show you what happened when we altered our supply chain by outsourcing manufacturing. And then layer on top of that the fact that we're outsourcing a lot of those high-level jobs that we spoke about when we were outsourcing manufacturing. Yeah. There are a lot of things that need to be fixed. There are a lot of things that need to be fixed. Plain and simple. I turn around and walk away from someone that thinks manufacturing was taken from this country It makes me want to drink again. Damn. That wasn't me. That was Hutanic. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even going to kid you about that. This is some serious stuff. But you know what we should do? We should go over the numbers. That's what we should do. All right. So looking at these numbers, who's reporting soon? Johnson & Johnson, Citigroup, Bank of America, Interactive Brokers, PNC Financial, United Airlines. We've got a lot of big numbers coming out. Pay attention. Pay attention to what they're saying now. Pay attention to what they're going to be saying later. Just saying. Those are very big deals. U.S. economics. Today we've got import price index. We've got some Fed speak. Retail sales comes out tomorrow. Jobless claims comes out on Thursday. Fed speak. Friday, more Fed speak. Building permits, housing starts on Thursday. There's a lot of stuff that we should be paying attention to this week. Like I said, crypto fear and greed index is at 38. I'm expecting it to go down. I really do expect it to go down. DeFi Llama, we've got $96.346 billion in total value locked. Believe me when I tell you that whole thing with Mantra definitely affected us. We'll see how we move on from there. And take a look at Bitcoin. Slowly trying to move back up. Look at that 200-day moving average right there. The deep orange one is the 200-day moving average. The yellow one is the 20-day. So yeah, we're trying to move up. Bitcoin's trying to move up. How long will that take? See that recovery? A V. See this one? A V. That's what I said. That's what I was talking about last night. Normally things would go down and be more like a U, and then, maybe a U and you bounce around for a bit and then finally it goes up. But this is manipulation. When I see a V like this, and each time it's a V. Look at that. Over here, it's a V. Over here winds up to be a V. And then you try to go up a little bit. We have the same thing going on right now where we're trying to go up a little bit. How long before we hit this point right here? Bam. I mean, if you really want to draw a line, you could probably draw that line right here. Right? Because then you would have 1, 2, 3. You could pretty much do that. It's close enough, in my humble opinion. But how long before we hit that? That's the wall. 88,584. Give or take. Right? The highest point you could say was, 88,861. That's what you're thinking about right there. So yeah, I wonder about how that works. Okay? Because next week we're supposed to hear about tariffs again. And you know how I feel about that. It's just manipulation, because that's what happens when you talk about tariffs. You get that steep dive. And then we start to try to come back up, and then tariffs again. And we try to come back up, and then tariffs again. This is a visualization of market manipulation, in my humble opinion. Then you've got, looking at the big board, a lot of places where you can earn some money. Look at where Ethereum is right now. Wasn't it very much further down than that? Yeah, it was. XRP was down below $2. Huh. BNB was further down. A lot of these coins were further down. Link was under $10 for like a hot second. Shiba Inu was below that number. Doge was below that number. Again, this is why I tell people, pay attention to what's going on. Stop goofing around. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Want to know how to apply those strategies? Buy the book, The GMB 3, The Art of Research, Timing, and Deliberate Wealth. It's available on Amazon, rather. Want to get the other one that'll give you some foundations? Yeah, Crypto Foundations for Building Multi-Generational Wealth. Those two books are meant to be guides, things that you can refer to over and over again. Over and over again. Looking at these numbers, yeah, nobody's doing well. XRP is back in the positive for year to date. Leo, I still haven't had a chance to do research on Leo. Cardano's at 63 cents. I'm telling you, Cardano was at 50 cents. It was at 50 cents. It's at 63 cents. I told you, I'm playing volatility right now. Yes, I have my hodling wallets. I'm also playing volatility right now. Just saying. All right, just saying. Let's go to the crypto tracker. All right, let's look at the losers. Let's see. Mantra, obviously one of the biggest losers. It's down 92% from its all-time high. It's got a GMB X factor of 13.04. Currently ranked on CoinGecko at 118. That's not pretty. That's not pretty at all. All right. Who else is down? Helium is down 7.9% in the past 24 hours. GMB X factor 14.55. The good thing about Helium is the fact that the case by the United States is being dropped. So that's a good thing. Dog with Hat is down 7.44% with a GMB X factor of 10.64. I sit there and I look at that and I'm kind of like, I like Dog with Hat. It's just a cute name. It's just a meme coin, just cute name. Oh, an ISO, 222 coin. The things that everybody's talking about, XDC, down 7.31% with a GMB X factor of 1.63. I just want to know who's using XDC. I haven't had time to do research on it, so if one of you guys know, one of you ladies know, please let me know. Pudgy Penguins is down 6.19. Athena's down 6.29. Wow, Athena's got a GMB X factor of 4.10. Pudgy Penguins has a GMB X factor of 13.21. Ouch. Good morning, Elizabeth. Ouch. Flare is down. Somebody had brought up Flare to me a couple of weeks ago, and here we are. Flare is down 6%, GMB X factor of 8.33. Floki is down 5.82, GMB X factor of 5.22. I think Floki is going to wind up coming back. Even this one is down. Not going to talk about it. Whatever. In single digits, by the way, single digits. Trust me, I think the plan is there for this coin to go up because you're going to wind up seeing a lot of movement. I'm just going to say it like that. You've got Sui down 5.22% with a GMB X factor of 1.43. Yeah, I have no problem with Sui. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So we're not seeing a ton. What I see is a lot of opportunity. That's what I see. So do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell all your friends about this community. This is one of the only communities out there, probably the only community out there, that has its own platform that we're upgrading. It also has a couple of books that'll help you learn. We also have a community that is safe. We do not tolerate people coming after people here. The only thing we tolerate is sharing of knowledge about investment. Everybody, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Crypto Overflow. Everybody, have a good one. Oh, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, as always, thank you for your trust. Have a great day. Bye-bye.